Good morning. Our hand today is going to be pocket nines. This might be an interesting one. We'll see. But, from pre-flop, I get 2 limpers, and then we have a raiser to 6. So, unfortunately, I haven't been at the table for very long, so it's just going to be guesses. This guy's only played 13% of hands so far out of 8. I think he's going to play a little bit looser than these players. So, I'd say just like a limper, typically pocket pairs, something like this, connected, maybe high, like ace jack off, king queen off. Next guy's going to be a little bit looser, so I kept the same range, and then I added a few more hands here. Do note that this is the first time that he's limped behind, and that may be significant. So maybe he doesn't have like ace jack, like some of those, and it's more like this. And then this guy raises. He's also 25-25. So, a quarter of the hands he's played, quarter of the hands he's raised. I do have some added notes on him. So I've got like 3-bet range at ace 5 suited, ace 10 off. I've got a 4-bet range at ace king. We've got 3-bet with ace 5 and then triple barreled, ace high hand. So it seems to be a bit more aggressive. I think maybe 21% could be good. But again, I have 8 hands on him. So now it's on me. These 2 folds on me. What do? When we look at button versus cutoff, this is kind of our range. So 3-bet, pocket 9 should be a 3-bet here. I think that this assumption is it's a raise first in situation. So there's a possibility that villain is raising as a bluff, trying to steal. I don't think this is the case. We have 2 limpers in there. I think he's still raising. He could still have a hand, or he probably has a better hand than if he was trying to steal it. So because of that, I think my 3-bet call is going to actually be a little bit stronger. We're going to add some hands, and we're going to remove some hands. So here's the 3-bet call. What I think we're doing is kind of adding some of these hands. Removing some of these weaker hands. Add 7-6. Not even sure. I think we would probably do something like that. Maybe ace queen or queen jack. I think ace queen's decent hand. I think it plays better for a 3-bet. Not sure if the offsuit hands would be okay to play. Offsuit kind of, they don't necessarily connect much, but you can see that I've started shifting my ranges. 2 3s and 4s possibility of calling. We could always call with those if we're getting the odds, pot odds. This is a 5 NL game, and I'm noticing, we're at kind of under 50 big blinds, effective stacks. I kind of have a suspicion that this might be a short table, but I'd have to really check. I'd have to really check hand histories and see, what I came in with and everything, because I wouldn't have bought in for 50 if I didn't have to. So I think my calling range is going to be something like this, which is what I did. First player folds, so easy enough. Second player calls, and then the question is, does he call with the same range that he limped with? I'm going to say maybe not. Let's take some of those out. Let's take those out, the gappers, and leave everything else. All right, so we see a flop, queen of spades, jack of hearts, and 8 of spades. So we flop a gut shot. The cutoff's bit, the preflop razor pot is 19, so we are dealing with stack to pot ratio a little over 2. Not quite 2.5. So maybe 2.25. Is this good enough to get all in with? I don't think so. Not with a limper and a razor. We could easily be drawing just to that gut shot. Because they could have a hand like Jack 10, Queen 10. I think our play is probably to check call. I don't think we need a check raise here. We have a lot of hands that we could represent as a check raise, so I think with the check raise, I would probably do like straights and sets. I think 2 pair as well would be a check raise, and then I think our flush draws probably we're dealing with the nut flush draw. Probably we've got that straight that we're already doing, like Jack 9, Jack 10, 9, 7. Probably King 9, King 10. Because these have like flush and draw potential. Let's get this. I think we're looking at calls for some of these other ones. Open-ended straight draw probably as well. The 2 card. I think we're going for a raise. I think the 1 card open-enders and the gut shots, we're probably going for just a call. Minus the times when we have, these flush draws. So I think when we look at it, we're looking at, this is like our check raising range, and then this is our calling range. And I think that's okay. Our calling range is actually going to be a little bit smaller just because we're including, that's King 9. It has all 4 combos. These have, basically all combos, and we're not going to play it with all combos there. We're going to have some of those combos we were going to check raise with. So I think our play is probably just a check call here. If the turn goes check check, then I think it opens this up to try to bet bluff with our 9s, maybe try to get a jack to fold or pocket 10s to fold. So I did check. Villain 1 checked. I'm going to say villain 1's probably checking 100%, and then villain 2 checks behind. So that's the telling one. So I still have 100% of my range. He still has 100% of his range. I don't think he checks with the straight or the set or the 2 pair or the over pair or the top pair. I think middle pair probably also bets. So I think we're looking at like pocket pair below the 2nd card. We're looking at no made hand. I think he's betting the bluff, the flush draw, and the open-ended straight draw. Gut shots, he probably has. So I am going to X out those 2. So I think that's what villain has. Significantly weaker now. We don't know what this villain has, so that's question mark. So now that it goes check check, what's our plan going forward? With our gut shot, the only one we don't know is villain 1. So I think on the turn, if it's anything other than like an ace or maybe a king, I think I'm probably gonna bet, and I think we should bet. I think 9's going to be somewhat also an exception. Sometimes we bet, sometimes we check. Any 10 gets there at that point. We don't want to bet and then get raised and have to fold. So I think if a 9 comes, we're probably just check calling. Yeah, I think we're going to check call, and then if it goes check check, probably bet on the river for a little bit of value. Well, we don't have to worry about that because the 10 comes, and I think now we go ahead and bet. I think this is one where we sometimes bet, sometimes check, like on the 9 because we hit trips. On the 10, it's the same thing. We have to kind of think about the entire range. So I think with our straight, we're betting. But with our sets, I think we're still just going to be checking here. Oops, let's do that. What other bluffs would we have? I think we can bluff with our flush draw. I think we bluff with our flush draw here. And I'm not sure if we bluff with everything. Maybe with the small flush draws. That's 2 pair. Those are straights. That's a straight. That's a straight. Yeah. That's better. I think that's kind of what we're doing. We're betting with our straights. We're betting with our flush draws, minus the ones that we've already connected with. And I think the reason being, we're not betting with the straights. Let's get these out. So if that's our bet, I thought I had. Oh yeah. Never mind. I don't know what I was doing. We have all of those. Yeah, we're betting those, and probably maybe our gut shot. Open ender. Maybe with our king. We also bet. And yeah, open ender with our king. We don't mind betting and having everyone fold with these hands, because we're not going to really have. It's going to be hard for us if called. We're not going to do well. If we get raised, I think we could be confident that we're going to be up against the flush. The made straight. In which case we can dump. We're not going to get the odds to chase this open-ended straight draw, and our flush draw just kind of depends on the bet. So maybe we're going to have to call the flush draw down, and we're still, we're about 4-1 or so. But even with our flush draw, we still have, we're still at a straight. We have a small number of hands. If we're not getting the odds to call, then we just fold it. We're using those hands as a bluff because, most of the time we're not going to have anything. We're unpaired. So we're hoping to kind of get any of these pairs to fold, any of the eights, any of the under pairs to fold. If that happens, hey, we just win. So what happens here? I do bet. And I like that bet. All of these other ones, I think it's a check, and I think we're check calling with the set. I think we're check calling with 2 pair. Top pair probably a check call. Middle pair probably a check call. It just kind of depends on the bet size and who's betting. I think if this guy bets, we probably just fold a lot of those. I think sets and 2 pair, we probably just call. And see if he bets again on the river. If he bets again on the river, we probably have to fold. If it's this guy, this guy poses more of a challenge, because we do have the notes that he has triple barreled with ace high. So he could be betting with a 10, could be betting with a straight. But if we just check fold with the rest of these hands, I'm okay with it, other than the set or maybe even the 2 pair. So I bet villain 1 folds. Okay, he has nothing. He calls. Question is, what's he going to call with? So that's us. At this point, maybe he thinks we're bluffing. You're looking at the straight, probably a set, probably 2 pair. I think it's going to be heavy on the straight once we do that. Once we bet, we get called. And that's why I think betting, some of those draws are going to work. If we get called, we're probably against that straight. I'm going to include weak pair. because if we think it's a straight, then I think our river play is going to be pretty straightforward. Probably just check call. Let's leave that there. So let's say that's his call. River's the ace of diamonds. Flush misses. Great. If we bet, he's going to call 83% of the time with the straight. I think if we bet, we give him a reason to fold sets in the 2 pair. That's fine. Maybe if we check, he bluffs with those. So I think we can, we don't have a huge number of 2 pair or top pair in our range here, or nothing. We've got 88%. So I think a check and hoping that he shoves is a decent play. I chose to bet because I was hoping that villain might give us credit, or might think we're bluffing and he's going to come along with sets or 2 pair. I'm not sure how realistic of play that is, or that assumption is. I think it's probably a little bit better if we check, we bet the turn and then we check the river. I think that's kind of I give up. And an aggressive opponent like this, someone who could triple barrel, might attack it. And I think that's what we probably want to do. So I think betting out here I don't feel like that's the best play. So he bets, I call. Or I bet, he calls, and he shows ace-9. Did I have ace-9 in his range? No. I needed to add it. So if he had ace-9 offsuit in his range, he probably has all of those additionals. And maybe even king-9, queen-9 suited in his range. So I'll add, a note of what he did. Isoraise. I think that's important to see. So isoraise 6 versus 2 limpers. Isoraise actually, and cut off versus 2 limpers, and then check, call. Jack of hearts, queen of spades, 8 of spades, 10 of diamonds, ace of diamonds. All right, so hopefully you saw us hand. I think we could 3-bet, but again, versus an iso raise here, we have to account for the limpers. We have to account for that raiser. It's not a true opener, so we probably I think we need to shift our raising range up a little bit, make it a little bit stronger. Or our calling range a little bit stronger, make a 3-betting range, eliminate some of the weaker hands there. And then on this river, I think we should have just checked and hopefully let him bet to get a little bit of extra value. All right, hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.